All right, let's get right into it. If you're part of the neurodivergent community, you know that shame can feel like this constant, unwelcome shadow. But what if we could totally reframe that whole experience? We're going to dig into where that feeling really comes from and, way more importantly, how you can actually start rewriting that script for yourself.
Wow. This quote, it just hits home for so many people like us, right? For social smarts, it's that feeling that just sits in your gut, that little whisper telling you that no matter what you do, you're either completely overwhelming people or you're just not measuring up. It's such an exhausting place to live. And if you have ever felt that, I promise you, you are so not alone.
So, here's the big question we're going to explore together. What if that deep-seated feeling of being fundamentally wrong has nothing to do with who you actually are? What if it's all just a big misunderstanding that's been piled on you for years? Let's do a little investigating, because what if the problem was never you to begin with?
Okay, to solve this mystery, we need the right tool for the job. And honestly, the single most important key to unlocking all of this is understanding the massive difference between two emotions we mix up all the time: shame and guilt. Getting this distinction, well, it changes absolutely everything. So let's break this down. Guilt is all about behavior. It says, I did something bad. It's focused on a specific action, and you know what? It can actually be pretty useful. It's what makes us apologize or try to fix things or just do better next time. But shame, oh, shame is a totally different animal. Shame says, I am bad. See the difference? It's not about what you did, it's an attack on your entire identity. And it doesn't motivate you to fix anything. It just makes you want to crawl into a hole and hide.
So why do so many of us get stuck in the shame trap instead of just feeling guilt? Well, the answer often comes down to this big concept: internalized ableism. Think about it. From the time we're little, we get all these messages from school, from the media, sometimes even from people who love us, that our way of thinking or feeling isn't the right way. We start to absorb this idea that our brains are the problem, so anytime we struggle, it just feels like more proof that we're the problem.
And all of that leads us straight to that voice in our heads, right? The inner critic, the one that's always pointing out our flaws. But where did that voice actually come from? I'm going to bet its origin story is not what you think it is.
Okay, here is a mind-bending reframe that almost nobody talks about. For explorers, that nasty voice in your head, it's not actually self-hatred. It's, and this is wild, it's a very primitive, very misguided safety mechanism. Its logic basically goes like this. Hey, if I can find all my own flaws and criticize myself first before anyone else does, maybe I can avoid the pain of them rejecting me. It's literally trying to keep you safe by hurting you first. Crazy, right?
And what is it trying so desperately to protect you from? For a lot of us, it's this: rejection-sensitive dysphoria, or RSD. Now, this isn't just about having your feelings hurt. RSD is a neurological thing. It's where even the slightest hint of rejection or criticism can trigger this overwhelming, almost physical pain. When the fear of being misunderstood feels that intense, it's no wonder our brains would create a super vigilant inner critic to try and stop it from ever happening.
And this right here, this is the strategic trap that so many of us fall into. For strategists, let's walk through it. It starts at step 1. You mask your true self to avoid that awful feeling of rejection. But that leads directly to step 2. You are completely exhausted, and that inner critic goes into overdrive, which of course reinforces the feeling that you're not good enough. So you get to step 3, you feel like you have to mask even harder to hide it all, and boom, you're right back at the start of the loop. It is just so depleting. Okay, so we've laid out the problem. We can see the cycle, but just understanding it is only half the job, right? Now, let's get into the good stuff, the actual toolkit, the practical, real things we can do to start healing and to rewrite this entire story. When you're right in the middle of a shame spiral, your brain is in panic mode. You need something simple, something physical to anchor you. Here's a super safe and practical way to do that. First, just place a hand on your heart. That simple touch can actually help your body calm down. Then take 3 slow, deep breaths. And finally, just gently, without any judgment, name the feeling. This is shame. Just naming it, this is shame, creates a little bit of space. It shifts you from being the feeling to observing the feeling. I love this quote. It comes from an approach called narrative therapy, and it's a total game changer. The big idea here is to externalize the problem. So instead of thinking, I am an anxious person, you learn to say, I am a person who is experiencing anxiety. It sounds like a tiny change, but it creates this crucial distance. It reminds you that your struggles are something you're dealing with, not who you are.
And we can build on that idea to really reauthor our own stories. So first, when that inner critic starts talking, ask, wait, whose voice is that really? Is that a parent, a teacher from 3rd grade? Second, you can practice what are called shame reversals. So when the thought, I'm just too sensitive, pops up, you can counter it with, my sensitivity is actually information. And finally, find safe witnessing. This just means finding a person, a friend, a therapist who can see you for who you are without trying to fix you. Because connection is the ultimate cure for shame.
And what's so cool is that all this inner work doesn't just stay inside you. It fundamentally changes how you connect with other people. When you stop seeing yourself as the problem, you can start seeing a misunderstanding not as a final judgment on you, but just as a communication puzzle you can solve together.
Here are some super practical phrases you can literally start using today. For social smarts, instead of guessing what someone needs, just ask, do you need support right now or do you need a strategy? To explain your experience without blaming, try using I feel statements, like, I feel disconnected when this happens. And to reframe a trait, just own it. My sensitivity is information. These are simple, doable scripts, even if this is all new to you. For settlers,
Look, if there is only one thing you take away from our time together today, please let it be this. The exhaustion, the self-doubt, that feeling of shame, it was never ever because there was something wrong with you. It was the natural result of trying to navigate a world that wasn't designed for your brain. You were never a problem that needed to be solved. You were a person who deserved to be understood.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Think about one of your go-to self-criticisms. I'm too disorganized, or I'm just so awkward. What's one shame reversal, one empowering reframe that you can have ready in your back pocket to practice this week? Because every single time you do that, you're rewriting that story, and you're taking a piece of yourself back.
If this touched your heart, please subscribe, like, and share it with your family. Save this for more meaningful content ahead.